Have you ever come across somebody who is triggered by you? And you know they're triggered because they get defensive, they start maybe be avoidant, they are angry at you, name calling you, yelling at you. They're triggered by you. What's up, my friends? This is Cletus Coffey. I'm actually here in Palm Springs, California. I just had a keynote talk to a fantastic corporation here, and there was a lot of themes that came out of it. And one thing they really gravitated towards was the authentic self, and how when you show up in your personal culture, where you are standing in your power of who you are, your authentic self, two things are going to happen. Really, this is what you invite people to do. When, if I'm standing in my own personal culture, I invite people to do two things. Number one, I invite them to stand in their power, in their personal culture. Or number two, they get triggered. And let's address the triggering. That's what this video is all about, because this is what a lot of people seem to be struggling with. Because when people get triggered by you, it oftentimes sets us off to get triggered by their reaction to us. So first, let me just set the tone. If, what someone says about you, how someone responds towards you is a reflection of them. So this is their own stuff that they're going. They're triggered by you standing in your power. The second thing is how you respond to them being triggered by you is a reflection of you. So just be mindful when someone responds in a way that isn't comfortable, isn't what you like, and this is the caveat here. You are standing in the power of your authentic personal culture. You are you, authentically you. If you're BSing, you're showing up as somebody else, you're not sharing your feelings. Here's the thing: if you're not sharing your feelings, or you're sharing, or you're attacking someone else, you're not showing up authentically. This means to stand in the power of your personal culture, you own the truth, who you are, and then you own it. So you take ownership, and your responses to people, or your communication to people, is about yourself and about what you're feeling in this particular moment. So here's the scene. Let me set it for you. Again, you show up in the power of your personal culture. You're expressing the truth. You're sharing what's going on for you, what your feelings are, and someone gets triggered. They are going through a scenario where they see you, and it reflects back to them their insecurities. It reflects back to them, you standing in your personal culture and your power. It reflects back to them all the things they don't like about themselves. All right, now it gets even better. When you stand in the power of your personal culture, it reflects back to them how they are not standing in their power, how they are not being authentic. More so, it reflects back to them their unwillingness to be their authentic self. See, they see you being your authentic self, and it reflects back the fact that they're not, and they're frustrated that they're not. So they're upset at themselves, but their conditioned response is to get upset at you and to call you out and to say that you are not who you're supposed to be, or you claiming and blaming and justifying and all that kind of stuff. So you need to, number one, be aware that when you stand in your power, and if you go through my videos, you can continue to learn about personal culture. It embodies the power of five: psychology, right, the mental game, the physiology, the body, taking care of your body, your people, those are your relationships, your profits, your money, your business, and presence. You're connected to source. That's the power five of personal culture. And when you are standing in the truth of all those, where you're at, and you're able to communicate authentically as yourself, not worried about what people think about you, that's when you are standing in the power of your personal culture, being your authentic self. So people are going to be triggered by that. And it may be people that you love. It may be people that you're in a relationship with. And look, life is about growth and about evolution. And if people aren't okay with you changing and growing, well, you're starting to elevate yourself. You're starting to come to an elevated level of consciousness, and they're still down low. They haven't gotten there yet. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. That's their own journey. and hoping that they want to continue to grow and see you growing and want to support you and join you. So people that don't get triggered, people that want to stand in their own personal power, they see you and as an example of possibility. That's the key. When you stand in the power of your own personal culture and you're locked in on who you are, what's the truth behind all the Power 5 in your life, you become an example of possibility. So for those who are open, those who are looking at you as an example, they see what's possible for themselves. And so then they want to stand in the power of their own personal culture. Now, here's the cool thing. When they do, mind you, it may be that they're just willing to be truthful. Maybe they're being authentic, or maybe they're locked in just like you are. Then ultimately what happens is they're standing in their power and in their personal culture. You're standing in your personal culture, and a couple of things can happen. Number one, you guys can just hold space for one another without judgment, without trying to fix things. You just hold space. What can grow from that, or in addition to that, it could be that the two of you standing in your power can create together. So now our minds are open. We're not troubled with drama. We're not focusing on the extracurricular things that get in the way of life and relationships. We're just standing in our own power authentically. And now we can create. Our minds are open. The creativity is flowing. And we can collaborate on some innovative things. Maybe just innovative conversation. It could be if you're in business, it could be on a project, or maybe it's a customer. You work on adding value to them. You name it. But the thing is, when one or more people, it could be a group of people, everyone is locked in, their personal culture is aligned, then you all can create, it could be a pair as well, it could be a mastermind. You all could create something so incredibly more powerful than if you try to do it alone. That's the power of personal culture. And you need to let me remind you that it's not about expanding in just one area. Personal culture is not about, hey, let me try to kill it and make a bunch of money. That's not what it's about. Because what we know is there's a snapback. That's going to come back. If that's where you're expanding in, all the other areas of your life, your body, your relationships, your connection to source, your mindset, and the things that you're working to improve yourself and grow, those are become anchors. You're not taking care of your body, you're not taking your relationships. You can't expect to walk into a business conversation, walking into a sales conversation or some sort of partnership and being totally locked in if things at home are broken. If your body isn't in tip-top shape, at some point, it's gonna snap back. You're gonna get sick. You're gonna struggle with an infection or disease or something that's gonna follow up because you haven't been paying attention to that area of life. It happens. You hear it all the time. Business people who focus on their wealth and then have to spend their wealth to take care of their health, it's going to snap back. So that's why we always focus on the Power 5 and how to expand in all areas at the same time, because they support one another. Now you go into that same business conversation, locked in your power, you're aligned, things are going well at home, body's feeling good, and then be amazed at how well that business conversation goes, or that sales call, or the partnership ends up developing because you are aligned. When you're not aligned, that's when it's easy for you to become triggered. Now it's on the flip side. If you're not aligned and your personal culture is non-existent, or you're trying to expand in one area, it's easy for you to be triggered. And at that point, now you're in the scenario where you're being reflected back by others, your lack of authenticity. You're being reflected back to you, your lack of communication, your insecurities. And you see this in relationships all the time. If your partner's showing up in their personal culture, they're locked in, they're aligned, they're standing in their power, and they say something that you don't like, instead of communicating how it made you feel, because you're not feeling, you're just responding and reacting to your own insecurities, you get angry, you get defensive, you become avoidant. You withdraw. And that's not a recipe for a healthy, thriving relationship. So we're talking about getting triggered here. So let me just end with this as a reminder. Let me come full circle. People become triggered by you when you stand in the power of your personal culture. Doesn't mean they're bad people. This means they haven't become aligned themselves. They haven't locked in on the power of their personal culture. So, they're out of alignment, and you're reflecting back to them how much they're out of alignment. So they get defensive, they respond, they get angry, they push back, they're frustrated with you, and they're yelling, and and then it can grow from there. Unfortunately, that's on them. That's their issue. It's not yours. And what I find is, and what I found at this conference I just spoke at, and talking with some of the participants afterwards, is they had asked me, they said, look, I have, for example, I've been looking for a relationship, and I have found that I'm being my authentic self, and I feel like it's too much for people. I feel like I'm not attracting the right partner because I'm being too authentic. And my response to that is, when you become your authentic self, truly who you are, and you're coming from a place of true connection and love and gratitude. I mean, you're connected, but you're doing it in a higher level of frequency, love and power and connection, integrity. If you're vibrating at a high level, and people are trying to come to you and bring you back down, trying to test you if you're going to come back and not be authentic. Keep doing you. And the more you do you, the more you'd be able to attract the right people and the right opportunities, the right relationships. They will find you. You don't need to go looking for them. You just continue to be you. They will find you. That was my response to that individual. I find that a lot. Should I change? I'm being too much of myself. No. Be you. Learn and grow. I mean, every interaction, every relationship is an opportunity to learn and grow. Learn where you continue to be a student of yourself, and where you can continue to learn and grow. But continue to be your authentic self. If people are being triggered by that, that's on them. Be patient. The right people will find you as you continue to stand in the power of your personal culture and be your authentic self. My friends, if this was helpful for you, by all means, I would love for you to join this community. Simply hit subscribe to the YouTube channel here so you can continue to get more consistent content from me. You can also go to bethetorch.com, and we can get together and figure out how you can be part of this movement and join what we're doing, so that business owners like yourself can create a life that your business can fit into, so that you can expand in all areas and create the life that you truly want to have, that is fulfilling and free and financially thriving. All the stuff that I know a lot of us high achievers want to have in our lives. So that's all I have for you today from Palm Springs. Look forward to catching you on the next one.